The federal government is set to establish a gene bank to preserve the genetic makeup of indigenous livestock breeds for future generations. At the 2025 ministerial briefing in Abuja, Minister of Livestock Development highlighted the importance of storing the unique genes of indigenous livestock, which are naturally disease-resistant. He stated that, based on estimates, the country's livestock sector is valued at over 33 million naira, making it one of the most significant yet underutilized economic assets in Nigeria. The minister noted that the ministry is expanding its focus beyond traditional management to include economic diversification and positioning Nigeria as a leader in global agriculture.
This sector has been steeped in traditional practices, traditional animal husbandry, with indigenous animal breeds whose performance are suboptimal. And this is common knowledge to everybody. And the concern here of Mr. President is to transform that industry into a modern, vibrant, sustainable, globally competitive sector. How do we do that? We do that by the following pillars. Number one, we are conscious of the genetic limitations of the animal species in the country. And therefore, we are embarking on a massive genetic upgrade. We are going to do this, however, in a very, very methodical manner. We are going to leapfrog the animal sector so that the productivity can be higher, just as at par with their own counterparts elsewhere. But we are also going to jealously guard our indigenous genetics. We are already talking with institutions of learning in this country to create a gene bank where we can store all our local indigenous genetics. Because they have been produced here, they are resilient, they are adaptive, they are resistant to diseases. Therefore, we don't want to wish them away. We are going to combine them, we are going to keep them, and do crossbreeding so that those elements of indigenous genetics are also preserved for future generations and future national growth. For us in the ministry, feed and fodder is livestock. If you don't have sufficient feed and fodder, you are not talking about livestock at all. We are conscious of this, and we have already started mapping out. In fact, we have gotten the inventory of all the grazing reserves in the country, both gazetted and ungazetted, running to about 417, totally more than 5 million hectares of land. So we are going to focus our attention on those grazing reserves that are going to receive necessary infrastructure to receive the national herd. What I mean by national herd, all farmable animals will one day be settled in those grazing reserves where there will be sufficient infrastructure in terms of feed and fodder, water resources, infrastructure for the herders' families, schools, veterinary clinics, etc., so that each one of those will become an economic hub. Already, we have gotten a very good commitment from our development partners to get into some of these reserves to assist us in developing those infrastructure. Each one of them is now going to become an economic hub for dairy processing, for beef, for commercial pasture growing, and for hide and skin. So